One of the big messages about this page is to create awareness about alcohol, how it affects the family and how it affects the alcoholic, and really how society plays a role as well. But one thing really important, and I made a video recently about warning signs on labels. Now they've talked about it recently about putting, a warning sign that it causes cancer, but that may not be enough because alcohol covers a lot more problems than just cancer. Now, one good thing, and you can compare it to the Surgeon General in 64 rather, made cigarettes do this. Okay, they put the Surgeon Generals determined that cigarettes can cause cancer. Now, with that combined with extra taxes and not being able to smoke in public areas, they've estimated that it saved about 8 million lives because of that label. Now, why haven't we done this on alcohol? Specifically, and this is whiskey, but why haven't we done it on beer, wine? Some you will find it a little bit on beer in some countries, and some bottling companies will put a little bit, like it's determined that it's not good for your health, but it needs to be in bold because a lot of people don't realize this, and things that they don't tell you at the liquor store. And I think one of the biggest things people don't realize is that alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen, and it doesn't make any difference what form it comes in. If it's wine, spirits, or beer, or any other variation in between, it doesn't make any difference. It's a poison. It's basically ethanol you're ingesting into your body. It causes about 200 different types of cancer. Okay, it covers liver disease, fatty liver, pancreatitis, intestinal issues, esophageal issues. It'll wreck your eyes. It'll prematurely age you. It will give you Wernicke-Korsakoff, which is it's called wet brain colloquially, and it's essentially a form of dementia. This is in the later stages, of course. Now, there'll be those people who will say, well, everything in moderation. Correct. But there is a segment of the population who don't have the ability to self-regulate, and they're called people who suffer from alcohol use disorder. Labels on these, it's not going to help them. They're already down the road, but it will prevent kids or people who are just starting possibly realize that it's an issue. And then there's other laws that I think should go along with that. I don't want to regulate us into the next century, but I think it's important that people are aware of what happens when someone overdoes alcohol. And again, putting a label on alcohol, wine, spirits, beer isn't going to prevent somebody who's already an alcoholic. It's going to help people who are either in that path or going down that road, or maybe it will prevent somebody from drinking at all. The greatest deterrent for alcohol use disorder in the next generation is to make it less cool to drink at all. Why do we need to put poison in our body? Why is it so socially acceptable? Why do we have it at all? Some might say, well, it solves a lot of people's problems temporarily. It does serve as an emotional band-aid. The problem is when that emotional band-aid becomes the alcohol and then the addiction takes over. Alcohol is the solution to the alcoholic's problems, their emotional repressed issues, either anxiety or stress or depression or trauma in their childhood. It could be hereditary, could be family culture, peer pressure, could be dual. It could have ADHD, PTSD, schizophrenia. They could have personality disorders, borderline personality disorders. There's all kinds of issues that the reason why people drink, or why they're covering up something else that's bothering them. Putting a label on that, maybe they'll go to something else, like building better relationships, communicate better with the people in their life, rather than alleviating it with alcohol and drugs. And you have to realize, because of alcohol and all its forms, in the United States, we lose about 180,000 people a year, just in the United States. Worldwide, it's like 3.5 million people die from alcoholism, alcohol use disorder, or they fall down, or they have, a lot of times it may not be the alcohol, they have a heart attack, they have a stroke, they die of cancer because of the alcohol. That's a lot of people, that's a lot of families, that's a lot of unhappiness in the world. Alcohol is not going to solve your problems, and I think it's important for people to realize that and to understand that, and really to sit back and to realize what's really going on with it. In moderation, sure. We're not talking about moderation, because there is a segment of the population that doesn't have the ability to moderate, and that's who we're focusing on. And believe me, your motivation is crystal clear when you've lived with somebody for a couple of decades and they succumb to the disease, like my wife did. She passed away almost 5 years ago, and it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing for families, for children, parents, and everybody in their circle. It's a horrible way to go, and it's a horrible way to watch somebody go down that path. And you do everything in your power to help them, and nothing makes a difference. Labels on alcohol, it's a start. And again, I want to point out my wife's memoir. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. It's a story of, again, her 25 year decline with alcohol, and she succumbed about 5 years ago. Again, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We also have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. And when you're ready to work with me one-on-one, I have the coaching program. Link is in the bio. And again, it takes about an hour, 40 minutes to an hour. And we do a deep dive of what's going on with you and your family. The call is free. The course is definitely not. Set up a call if you want to change your life and the life of your family. And again, thanks so much for listening.